Hello from Bali. This is a podcast pigeon of peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about flirting, and let's start with the definition.
Maxim, to be honest, I never heard about this word before I start to work with Marriott International. Marriott International is largest chain of hotels worldwide, and I was working with Ritz-Carlton, especially W hotels and St. Regis. When I was working with them, they always were so polite, so kind, and I was thinking, they're special, but I don't know explain why. But suddenly it was a late night. It's put W in St. Petersburg, as I remember, and I asked one very old girl, not woman. It was a very old girl on the desk, and I asked her, something wrong with us, with you, but not in opposite way. You are always smiling and so on, and she answered, such a word like a flirting. And I asked her, yes, but this is something which is usually should be used before sex. And she laughed and said, yes, it's about flirt, but not flirting. Is it different words in English, flirt and flirt?
In a way, yeah, there's a little difference.
Okay, so he corrected me and she said, you should use flirt, not the flirt. And then she asked, if you are staying away from home, what do you want to feel? You want to feel home away from home. And I said, yes. So we should treat you as our beloved guest. So you should be see just smiling faces. Sometime we will wink. I don't know how to say wink.
Wink or mingle.
Winkle, yes, or mingle with you, and sometimes I will make some jokes, and they are just on the edge, like cutting edge of the humor and maybe sex. And I ask you, okay, thank you for your explanation, and I will start from the next day to look how it works. And suddenly I found that when I will go, for example, to bar, to terrace, or to restaurant, and I will ask, for example, in room dining, everyone was flirting with me. And from one side, it was so strange because I was working with this hotel. To be honest, if you will be in back office of this hotel, you will be, I don't know how to say, in terror, because all of these people sit in very small, not even rooms, like small boxes. They have very old and dirty computers and dirty keyboards. They have a lot of papers. And when you be, for example, in at reception or in some other places, everything in hotel just well decorated, but inside cheap, low profile. And I don't know how people could be so happy on the face when working in such conditions, but this is flirting.
So when we speak about the staff who works at F&B or hospitality or like any other areas where they do interact with the customers face to face. So let's say we're the person who is actually trying to maybe teach them or maybe, embed this behavior models in their heads. So what exactly how we should exactly perceive our customers, what we should think, feel, and do.
Let's remember about Ritz-Carlton. Maybe you have heard this from me on lectures. They have special motto. We are lady and gentlemen, which are serving also lady and gentlemen. And for me, it was just empty words. And when I asked them, why you pronounce such high words, but what's its meaning? And suddenly I learned that they have so-called pencil right. Maybe you will correct me, права карандаша, to cross out something from the bill. Pencil right.
Something like this. Yeah.
And ask, okay, how it work? And those people will explain. For example, you are complaining for noise pollution, and we will present you, for example, dinner with wine or just a bottle of wine. And I ask them, okay, and who is paying? And they said there are several ways how to pay. First, we have our limits for present to our guests. This was made to avoid злоупотребление, corruption.
Corruption or misusing.
Misusing, yes, okay. For example, if someone wants to steal 10 bottles of expensive wine, it would be impossible. For example, one person could present to different guests not more than, for example, 3 bottles of the wine without any permission. And if I want to present fourth and fourth bottles, I would ask general manager or manager on duty. Then I was asked, okay, it's quite cool. Also, they can upgrade a room for the guest, and so on. And suddenly I realized, if I would be polite guest, if I would be nice and friendly, maybe I will get the surprises. And it's happened. Suddenly I was price for my ironing was crossed out, and so on. And I'm thinking, okay, it's quite good. Then I was working, for example, with W Hotel in Dubai, in Maldives, in New York, in Istanbul. And, you know, they have special language. For example, they have concierge, but the name for it would be also starting from W, like whatever, whenever. They have also special service in different companies. It would be like taxi or cab service, but they have wheels because it's starting from W. And everything in this hotel have special name. By the way, on one hotel in St. Petersburg, we were all together with Daniel Schmidt, my partner, and also lecturer of School of Troubleshooter. And we were on spa, for sure, for our money. And we were just visiting spa. It was like a mystery shopping. And when we came there, we just saw special, I don't know how to say, special frame on the door, talents only. And when we finished our procedures, we were back, and on the next day we asked, what's meaning of this? And this is just, I don't know how to say, service passage, like для персонала только. How to say?
Staff
for
only.
Staff only. And I asked, but why are you writing talents? Because we have not unemployees, we have talents.
Well, this is quite interesting. I do believe it's also important for the company to, you know, like treat their employees as the customers as well. And when we're actually speaking about, you know, employees abusing their rights or like, you know, like exceeding the limits, obviously they also might be facing the same from the customer side. So how to behave in such situation? Because sometimes, you know, like people also might be treating it, whether it's because of their education or maybe mood or maybe like any other influence that, okay, they actually can cross the limits. Maybe they could be rude, they could be, you know, like a lack of manners, or they can do anything else. So how to act for the flirting in this case?
I was working in Maldives for several hotels, Amila Fushe, Ira Fushe, and Emerald. Pakistani, Australian, and local one. And you know what I found? I was working with photographers, I was working with architects, I was working with engineers, and so on. And I saw how people will arrive by seaplane or by boats. And very often they were quite rude because they were tired because of several flights. I don't know how to say, пересадка, switch off? Transition, and so on. They were flying like for 20 hours, for 25 hours, and usually they were rude. But when I ask people who work in these hotels, how do you treat them? Because they are almost невыносимы, unbearable. Annoying, yes. And they say, you know, if they will be annoying in the first day and second day, usually after first dinner
or supper,
first supper with wine, they will forgive everything and they will give us great tips. But if the person would make some quarrel for third and fourth day, we will write special mark and we will put his photography on special whiteboard. We have special whiteboard. By the way, it would be not a whiteboard. I don't know if there is a word in English. It would be corkboard to pin something. Is there a word corkboard?
That's a corkboard.
Corkboard. Okay, thank you. So we will put, for example, Maxim Golub is difficult one, and we will write something, proceed with care or something like this. And if this person, even after this, will be annoying us and will be rude, we will change his bartender, his butler, and we will give him the best service we could. And if after this, we will put him in a blacklist. In all hotels, he will be refused to give upgrade and so on. So I don't know how to say it in English, but we will try to отвадить.
Yeah, like try to ignore them or like make sure they not visit us anymore.
Yes, and for sure we expect that they will write some complaints to TripAdvisor, Booking.com, but this is a very cheap price because these are 5-star luxury hotels, and they say we treat our employees and we value our employees much better than guests, because some guests could be quite difficult to stay with.
And it's actually interesting. My next question will be about, let's say we might be in the shoes of the owner, and we do know that, you know, like some sort of our employees not really up to standard. They're probably falling apart. Maybe the lack of some sort of like a competence or empathy or anything else. So how to deal with this? How to maybe create like a set of rules, or maybe show an examples in whatever ways, because sometimes when I was, you know, like moving through different locations, it feels that on some territories people's like over smiling, they really, you know, like make you feel like you're home, while in other territories you feel like, okay, you just, you know, like you pay and go. So if you the owner, how do you instill in your employees this culture of flirting?
It's quite wonderful question, and even magnificent one. I will explain it in such a way. When I was working with Australian guys, with bar, with restaurants, with hotels, you know, they are quite polite, but also tough. They will not give you cross the line. So they always behave like a white man. I don't know how to say, like slave keepers. So they have limits and you couldn't push them out. But for example, if you will stay in France or in Venice, even in Rome, even in a very luxurious hotels, you will be treated less well than in Asia. My wife, she were with me maybe in, I don't know, 50 or 60 countries. And at first or second year, she was saying, I like Europe so much. But after we have been to Thailand, to Vietnam, to Bali, to Indonesia, to Borneo, to Java, and so on, suddenly she switched her opinion, and she was so disappointed about service in Europe. In Europe, for example, French people, French especially, they treat you like, okay, you are a guest, but nothing more. We should serve you, but it will not be perfect. For example, if you will stay even in a very fancy cafe or in restaurant Maxim in Paris, you will be served by, I don't know how to say, very scratched cutlery, поцарапанные ложки, вилки, cutlery, scratched cutlery.
Scratched cutlery.
Yes, but you know, for example, in Moscow, everything would be brand new, not because it was less used, because they use different kind how to wash it and they change it. But French could use this cutlery, for example, for 20 years. So they do not напрягаются, they do not, how to say?
Put a lot of effort.
Yes, they do not want to put a lot of efforts. Another kind of example. For example, we talk about African countries. I have been to Mozambique, to Zambia, Chad, Senegal, and so on. And sometimes I'm staying in quite fancy hotels, but you know, African service, this is like no service at all. So for example, in 5-star hotel on Madagascar, or maybe, I don't know, Tanzania, Kenya, Zanzibar, you would be served almost like in let me remember how that would be named in English. Canteen, столовая.
Like a canteen.
Like a canteen. For example, you will be looking. I have been to Fiji, Palau, and some other fancy island, Borneo, Bora Bora, and so on. You know how they will clean your room? For example, they will take out from the bed your sheets and they will put them on the grass. Just sun would dry it out, and then they will put it again. I asked them, how could you make this? I have paid for 5-star hotels, 5-star service, and they come on, we are eco-friendly, so we will use your sheets, for example, for 3 days if you are not against it. Like, I'm trying to say, okay, you can use it for example, for 2 days, not for 3, but never take it on the grass. Come on, this is our culture. This is, if you want to have authentic service, you should be used to it.
Well, this is funny enough. And then my last question will be, how knowing about flirting could help to make this world a better place?
Maxim, I have been in very in big variety of different locations, like golf clubs, like stables, like yacht clubs, and so on. And I found the higher level institution has, the more flirting you will be presenting. And you know, when you are just a wild person as me, I am from the village, from rural suburbs, I found it very shocking at the first moment, but now I couldn't live without it. You know, when I'm moving between stunt agencies, or by the way, on the Bali, you have a very good stunt agency hotels, and this is my advice: you should visit huge hotel, very fancy main building, and good restaurants. You will love it, definitely. And also, for example, when I'm moving between Ritz-Carltons or even less star hotels like Sheraton or Hilton, I always found when I will come, I will have the same level of communication, same smell, same furniture. So I am feeling myself like a home. This, as our motto, we have been using at the very first moment of our podcast, to be home away from home.
And we review the skill of flirting and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.